Hello and welcome to an India Today special broadcast. I'm Gaurav Sawant. Pakistan is facing a huge crisis, a political crisis, an economic crisis, and now a food crisis. In midst of it all, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif claims Pakistan has learnt its lessons after fighting 3 wars with India. Incidentally, all of them, including the war in Kargil in 1999, Pakistan lost. Perhaps the biggest lesson Pakistan's learnt is after Balakot, when India bombed Pakistan after the Pulwama terror attack. Now, Pakistan is now virtually a pauper state. But is Pakistan making these overtures towards India, seeking help without wanting to do so in as many words? Chaos, crisis, and collapse. Payback time for Terroristan. Begging bowl as terror blowback.
I feel very embarrassed कि मैं आपसे हर दफा आता हूँ, कोई और आता है तो आप कहते तो नहीं, लेकिन दिल के अंदर तो आप समझते होंगे ये पैसे मांगने आ गए हैं. तो मैंने कहा कि ये पाकिस्तान एक मिसाल इसकी ये है कि एक हाथ में हमारे एक न्यूक्लियर ताकत है और दूसरे हाथ में कशकोल. ये आग और पानी का ये कब तक ये मिलाप हो नहीं सकता, कब तक चलेगा?
Pakistan that boasted of a 1,000-year war with India,
Pakistan has learned its lesson.
now says it's learnt its lessons.
Pakistan has learned its lesson. We had 3 wars with India, 3. And the consequence of those wars, as a result, it only brought more miseries.
Food riots, begging for aid, and global shame. Price for peddling terror. That's our top focus on India First. Pakistan is in dire straits. Pakistan is in trouble. Its financial condition continues to deteriorate. So bad is the situation that Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif is now talking about talks with India. Shahbaz Sharif in an interview said that Pakistan's fought 3 wars with India and Pakistan has learnt its lessons. Are these indications that Pakistan's Prime Minister is trying to seek aid from India? But the sting is in the detail. The devil is in the detail and the sting is in the tail. Pakistan's Prime Minister is actually talking about resolving all outstanding issues, which for Pakistan remains Kashmir and restoration of Article 370. Clearly, Pakistan doesn't want to talk about India's core issue, and that is Pakistan's state-sponsored terror and inaction against radical Islamist terrorists of UN-designated terrorist organizations like Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed. Food crisis, skyrocketing inflation, and protests. Pakistan, a country of 23 crore people, is living its worst nightmare. Massive protests erupted in the Gilgit-Baltistan region of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir on Tuesday over food shortage and runaway inflation. Enraged citizens of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir blocked highways and burnt tires to express their anger against the Shahbaz Sharif-led Pakistan government. In midst of it all, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif conceded Pakistan had learnt its lessons after fighting multiple wars with India and losing. The Pakistani Prime Minister admitted that all three wars with India had brought his country down.
Pakistan has learned its lesson. We had 3 wars with India. 3. And the consequence of those wars, as a result, it only brought more miseries,
to the
unemployment,
two nations.
poverty.
Shahbaz Sharif claimed his country now wants to live in peace with India, but once again raked up the Kashmir issue.
We must. We are not a country, we don't have zayt or gas. We have very strong human resource, labor, engineers, etc. That's our asset. We want to convert that into our tools to provide prosperity.
Under intense pressure, Pakistan Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif's office clarified that the Prime Minister has consistently maintained that Pakistan and India must resolve their bilateral issues, especially, according to Pakistan, the core issue of Jammu and Kashmir through dialogue and peaceful means, and that too after restoration of Article 370. For far too long, Islamabad has ignored its economy, instead focusing all its energies using terrorism as an instrument of state policy. Now, the country is drowning in debt. In a desperate bid to remain afloat, Pakistan has taken a fresh loan from the United Arab Emirates this week. But the financial help from the Arab nation is actually too little and too late to bail out a sinking Pakistan. Bureau Report, India Today. Joining me now for more on this big story is India Today's Foreign Affairs editor, Geeta Mohan. Geeta, Pakistan's Prime Minister seems to be indicating that he wants the UAE to intervene. Pakistan wants some kind of dialogue with India on Kashmir and on Article 370, both clear no-go areas until Pakistan deals with radical Islamist terror that comes through Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed. So is this then an attempt to divert attention of his country from the deep crisis that Pakistan is facing? What's the thinking in South Bloc?
Well, two things. One, it's diversionary, as it always has been with the Pakistani establishment, whether it's any civilian government or the military establishment, Gaurav. But on the other hand, it's not just diversionary, it's also posturing. Pakistan knows that there is going to be no moving back from the decision of August 2019 on Article 370. And that's the reason why Pakistan always mentions it. Secondly, there is going to be no resolution to a bilateral dispute on Kashmir between India and Pakistan under the auspices of the United Nations. So these two areas are no-go, and Pakistan knows that. So primarily, it looks like what it always has been, which is posturing. Having said that, Pakistan trying to blame India for the economic crisis is more than just ridiculous. Why, Gaurav? Is because the last war was fought in the 70s, and the last big conflict was in the 90s. And since then, what has Pakistan really done in order to bring its economy in order? Nothing really, barring the corruption that Pakistani politicians and the military establishment involves itself in, and funding terror camps in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Therefore, the blame is solely on Pakistan, and Pakistan now in the United Arab Emirates only because there is no bailout that it's getting from IMF as of now. And the dire straits that Pakistan is in is the reason behind it is the mismanagement of all the funds and aid that went Pakistan's way to fight terrorism, and instead they funded terrorism.
Pakistan funded terrorism, corruption rampant across Pakistan, tax compliance almost near zero in Pakistan, especially when it comes to the rich, the powerful, and of course the Pakistan army. Geeta Mohan, for the moment, many thanks. Abdul Rahman Mucky, the 74-year-old brother-in-law of the Hafiz of terror, Hafiz Muhammad Saeed, the founder of Lashkar-e-Taiba, has finally been designated by the United Nations Sanctions Committee. China, which was blocking sanctions against Mucky, has finally relented after Beijing stood isolated at the United Nations Security Council with 14 or 15 members in favor of action against Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror and the designation of Abdul Rahman Mucky, who incidentally has been involved in a series of terror attacks in India, from the Parliament attack to the Red Fort attack to 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, and the man who actually threatened India with rivers of blood for Kashmir.
Abdul Rahman Mucky, a key terror ideologue and financier of Lashkar-e-Taiba, involved in a series of terror strikes in India, including 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks in 2008, was finally put on the 1267 sanctions list of the United Nations Sanctions Committee. And isolated China finally removed the technical hold on sanctions, with 14 out of 15 members voting in favor.
We welcome the decision of the UN Security Council's ISIL and Al-Qaeda Sanctions Committee to list Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorist Abdul Rahman Mucky. Threats from terrorist organizations in the region remain high, and listings and sanctions by the UN Security Council are an effective tool to curb such threats and dismantle terror infrastructure in the region. India remains committed to pursuing a zero-tolerance approach to terrorism.
Mucky, brother-in-law of UN-designated global terrorist and founder of Lashkar-e-Taiba, Hafiz Saeed, carries a $2 million reward on his head. 74-year-old Mucky is a US-designated terrorist. With Pakistan under global scrutiny over support to terrorists, Hafiz Saeed was put under a sham house arrest. Mucky was handling the main operations, including generating funds for terror activities of LET in J&K.
Our quest for justice for our people against Pakistani-based terrorists will continue. This is a good success.
Mucky, after 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks at a rally in Pakistan, threatened India with rivers of blood if Kashmir was not handed over to Pakistan. India has repeatedly sought action on Mucky, but China continued to put a technical hold on the listing of both Mucky and 26/11 terror financier Sajid Mir.
His designation as global terrorist is going to be a big victory because it is going to starve Lashkar-e-Taiba of funds. And to that extent, I think it will reduce Lashkar-e-Taiba's efficacy and reduce terror activities of Lashkar-e-Taiba.
Mucky has been involved in a series of terror strikes in India, including the December 2000 Red Fort terror attack, December 2001 Parliament attack, 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, 2018 Karan Nagar Srinagar attack, 2018 killing of Shujat Bukhari, a senior journalist in Srinagar. When Pakistan was under the Financial Action Task Force scrutiny, Mucky was arrested and convicted on charges of terror financing, but was among 6 people acquitted by the Lahore High Court in November 2021. The Counter-Terror Department of Pakistan's Punjab Police has filed over 40 cases against Mucky and other terrorists of Jamaat-ud-Dawa.
After placing numerous technical holds on the designation of Mucky, China finally relented. But this is not the first, or for that matter, the last time that China will continue to support Pakistan, even if it means supporting terrorism. In New Delhi, Geeta Mohan for India Today.
US designated international terror financier and the 1993 Mumbai serial blast accused Dawood Ibrahim Kaskar has got remarried to a Pathan woman in Pakistan. Is this Dawood Ibrahim's ploy to protect his wife Mehjabeen? Is Mehjabeen trying to return to India and handle the D company in this country? What's the bigger game plan? Arvind Ojha gets you details. 1993 Mumbai serial blast mastermind, a designated global terrorist, fugitive underworld don, the terrorist who runs his D company crime syndicate, from a Pakistan safe house in Karachi. Dawood Ibrahim Kaskar is not just flourishing in Karachi, but believe it or not, he just got married once again. The 67-year-old married for the second time to a Pakistani girl from the Pathan community. This while staying married to his first wife, Mehjabeen Sheikh, who has been a partner in his crime and terror syndicate. Pakistan has not just sheltered Dawood Ibrahim Kaskar in a fortified and posh Karachi locality in Clifton, but has also ensured that he operates with impunity. The shocking revelations come from Ali Shah, son of Dawood Ibrahim's sister Hasina Parker, who confessed to the National Investigation Agency in September 2022. According to Shah, Dawood Ibrahim's second marriage may also be an attempt to shift the focus of the investigating agencies from his first wife, Mehjabeen. Shah revealed Dawood Ibrahim has not divorced his first wife while marrying for the second time. He also revealed Dawood's latest location in Pakistan, adding he's now living in Defence Colony in Rahim Faki area of Karachi, which is also highly fortified near Clifton, Karachi. Dawood's nephew revealed that Mehjabeen still maintains contacts with their relatives in India through WhatsApp calls. Dawood Ibrahim has 3 daughters and a son named Moin with Mehjabeen. His sister Hasina Parker, who died in 2014, used to control the D Company's operations till her death in India. With Arvind Ojha, Bureau Report, India Today. And it's a triple whammy for Pakistan. There is an economic crisis, there is a political crisis, and on top of that, there is acute food crisis. Almost food riots in different cities across Pakistan. There are allegations of discrimination that the Pakistani Punjabi Muslims are not giving adequate wheat to either people of Gilgit-Baltistan or Pakistan-occupied Kashmir or even Sindh and Balochistan. People are scrambling for a bag of flour. People have lost their lives. People have been injured. Pakistan Army has had to resort to firing in the air to ensure that food riots don't escalate. And why? Because Pakistan is unable to acquire wheat for its people. Pakistan's economy is in a shambles. Our next report gets us more.
Food shortage, stampedes, gunfire. Pakistan, a country of 23 crore people, is now paying for its crimes. For far too long, Islamabad has overlooked governance and instead focused all its energies on the use of terror as a strategic weapon. Today, firing their AK-47 rifles, the army and police are protecting the priceless wheat flour. That's right, they're actually standing guard for atta against hungry crowds, risking their lives just to lay their hands on that one invaluable bag of food. Pakistan is facing its worst ever food crisis, with parts of the country reporting a massive shortage of wheat and wheat flour. Stampedes have been reported in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Sindh and Balochistan provinces.
मुल्क का कर्जा कैसे उतरेगा? तो किसी नौजवान ने कहा कि ब्यूटी पार्लर बंद करके उतरेगा, किसी ने कहा कबाब रोल खाने बंद कर दें तो उतर जाएगा, किसी लड़की ने कहा कि हम कमेटियां डाल लेते हैं सब मुल्कों से लेकर,
सब अपनी अपनी गड़ियां बेचते भाई,
उससे उतर सकता है.
The country is drowning in debt, making even imports a tough task.
ये बताओ मुल्क का कर्जा कैसे उतरेगा?
मुल्क का कर्जा जब पैसे होंगे जब उतरेगा, आपको नहीं पता.
तेल का बोतल आते हैं ऐसे यूं पत्थर रख के ऐसे यूं बैठे होते हैं ये इधर डिफेंस में. अगर लड़के सारे उधर बैठ जाए ये काम कारोबार स्टार्ट कर दे तो ये मुल्क जो है तरक्की हो जाएगा।
मतलब
हर
नौजवान मालशी बन जाए।
मालिश में जितना पैसा है ना उधर किधर नहीं है।
Amidst this crisis, the political leadership is busy pointing fingers at one another.
इमरान नियाजी की बदकिस्मती कि 4 साल पूरी सपोर्ट के बगैर वो एक बदतरीन नाकाम वज़ीर आज़म निकला, और जो लोग जिन्होंने उसको मसनद इक़्तिदार पर बिठाया आज किस तरह के कभी उनके ऊपर इल्ज़ाम तराशी कर रहा है।
इस वक्त जिधर हम खड़े हैं उसमें एक आदमी जिसके पास बड़ी ताकत थी, जनरल बाजवा, उसका बहुत बड़ा हाथ है, बल्कि उसी का हाथ है जो आज हम यहां खड़े हैं।
At a time when citizens are starving, Maryam Nawaz, the daughter of former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, is making headlines for her shoes and clothes worth lakhs of rupees. The country is facing challenges on multiple fronts, like plummeting forex reserves, high inflation which has reached a staggering 42%, conflict with the Taliban in Afghanistan, the Baloch insurgency escalating, a huge historic food shortage, and a crippling power crisis. Add to it huge damage from last year's historic floods. Pakistan is battling to meet the very basic needs of its citizens. The countdown clock has begun to total collapse. Bureau Report, India Today.
Pakistan continues to sink. It expects India, at least some in Pakistan do, that India should bail Pakistan out. But clearly, that should only happen if Pakistan takes clear, visible, credible and irreversible steps against India-centric terror. We will track that story very closely. That is all I have for you on this special broadcast. Many thanks for watching.
It's 2023, and India remains the sole shining star in the global economy. So what lies ahead as the Modi government prepares its last full budget before the 2024 general elections? Join the biggest names in business journalism, decoding the jargon with the biggest newsmakers. From the most credible, in-depth analysis of Budget 2023, tune in for Modinomics 2023 through the month. Only on India Today and Business Today Television, gold standard of business journalism.
You see what Kiran Rijiju, the law minister, has done in writing officially to the Chief Justice, suggesting that a government representative be included as part of the collegium system for selecting Supreme Court and High Court judges.
Yeah, thank you, Rajdeep. You see, it's like this. The contents of the letter are not in the public domain. At least I'm not aware of the contents of the letter. There just seems to be, a suggestion that a representative of the government should be in the collegium, right?
Yes.
Now, in the collegium means what? As a part of the collegium, as somebody who takes a decision. So, if 5 judges in the collegium or 3 judges in the collegium say yes, is this person entitled to say no, or is he just there, to watch the proceedings? I don't know. And what is the role of that person going to be? Because everything that the government wants to say, or the Department of Justice wants to say, is already there with the Supreme Court. So what is that person going to do? I mean, is he just going to carry the file and give it to the Supreme Court and say, well, here's the file, take it? What is the role of that person? It's not very clear.
It seems at the moment, as you're right, that we don't know exactly how the government sees the role of this representative, but it seems that the government wants a say. They believe that the system cannot be as opaque and non-transparent as it is, and in fact the Constitution bench itself during the NJC judgment had made it very clear that there should be some reform in the memorandum of procedure. So as a first step, the government must have a say. It doesn't mean a veto, but it means a say.
Well, the government already has a say. The file comes from the government. So the government has a say, the chief minister of the state has a say, the governor of the state has a say. So there's no question about it. The government does have a say. So what more of a say does it want? And the say that the government has is even post the decision of or the recommendation of the collegium. Because then the government says, well, we're not going to appoint this guy, or we are going to, sit over the file and take our own sweet time and let that person wait for another year or 2 years. They've done that. So what is the greatest say that they want? That is one.
Yes.
Secondly, in the NJAC judgment, at the end of it, we did say, the Supreme Court did say that, invite suggestions. And if I remember correctly, something like 11,000 plus suggestions were given.
Hello and welcome. You're with us here in Business Today, day 2 of the World Economic Forum meet at snow-covered Davos, and BTTV bringing you a treat today. The next half hour will bring you conversations with top corporate leaders, personalities who decide where hundreds of billions of dollars are invested. They also decide the direction economies will take, and these leaders have spoken exclusively to Business Today TV. But first, the top stories tonight. In a significant departure from optimism that we've seen in the last 2 years, PwC finds a large majority of global CEOs seeing a difficult 2023 in their exclusive survey. Business Today TV speaks to the global chairman of PwC at Davos to decode these results. Watch out for that exclusive interview. IMF's Geeta Gopinath stated on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum summit that we're far from global recession territory. She added that the global economy will recover in the second half of 2023 as the IMF is seeing signs